All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. Me and James today, and I've just got to calm down because I just went on a rant about weak people in Clubhouse.
Weak people in Clubhouse.
As a Clubhouse, just go straight into the tangent because people love a good rant.
How about we go into the intro, then get to the tangent?
Now, fuck these people.
Intro, please.
This is my podcast. They're going to listen to what I have to say. There was a Clubhouse room that said bullying in Clubhouse, and I went in there. Just a bunch of people bitching about being bullied on Clubhouse. How fucking ridiculous. How much of a victim do you need to be?
If you listen to this podcast, you will make your first $1 million within 3 years. I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of the first episode you listen to. We don't want pikers. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make podcasts. You really want this. You listen and review.
Put that coffee down.
So, Clubhouse. It's new. It's a bit of a hype. What do you make of it so far?
Dunno, man. It's a fucking Zoom call without the video.
No, there's no video. I've joined. I've been invited. I haven't actually spent any time in it as such because I have so much content already to look at and listen to that you really can't justify being pitched to from more people.
I think it's cool. Like, I think it's probably cool for some people. Like, for me, I obviously do a lot of content. I give a lot away. So for us, it's just another platform just to give free content away. I got to figure out a way. Well, I know a way where I can actually use that content, so it's not just like going into the ether. But I thought it was helpful today. A lot of the guys from the NEPQ course who were in there have signed up so they can kind of get more training. So really, if you wanted to do stuff for free, I do a Facebook Live in the Facebook group every week. We do the podcast. I do soon to be 2 YouTube videos a week. I do 1 in Clubhouse. How much more free shit could I give people? Just give me $25 for the first week of the closing code, you pieces of shit. Just do it. Giving away so much for free. Anyway, but yeah, Clubhouse, we'll see how it goes. I'll fucking bang it in. Who cares, right?
Yeah, the fear I have with like another platform, and you know, it's more of a conservative fear, that it's just like so many newbies that don't have big followings on Facebook and that can really jump in and use it as a platform. And
what's wrong with that?
Well, the thing is, like, there's so many people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Do you want to start vetting social media platforms and if people know?
No. I'm just my point is,
be a busy guy.
Yeah, my point is like, be careful who you get your advice from, because I've seen some terrible things, and not just on there, but on Facebook and stuff.
I've seen some terrible things.
And fuck me, like anyone that's not good at what they do and they get their foot in the door and they can build a following and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. It's like things like investing, things like crypto, right? A lot of those like crypto guys got big followings on YouTube and stuff, have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And, you know, to a point where they can potentially manipulate the market. And
who are you talking about specifically?
Oh, no one, just generality. Yeah.
I was just trying to throw you under the bus.
Heaps of them. So, you know, no one in specific.
You know, it's funny. There's a great piece of advice, a great line, and I heard it from Dan Locke of all people. And it's take their advice, live their life.
Yeah.
And I was like,
my point is, I just don't want to see people getting sucked in to other idiots that don't know what they're talking about on another platform and taking what they say as gospel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, people chart their own paths, but I think the cool thing about it, and I don't want to start talking about Clubhouse too much, but here we are. The cool thing about it is it's a very interactive way to speak with people that you wouldn't normally get to speak to. So like you can hop on, if like, let's say Ryan Serhnant does a Clubhouse, you can actually speak to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
So you're going to get access to people you wouldn't, like even me, for example, right? Like, dude, I'm fucking everywhere, but it's all pre-done. There's not many like live, there's like now there's 2 live opportunities a week. Not that I'm anyone fucking special in the slightest, but like there is a small segment of people who have decided that I'm pretty good at selling. So they listen to the podcast and they watch the videos, and for them to be able to like connect and ask me specific questions on Clubhouse. And then also for me, from just an ego point, I had like 3 or 4 dudes today say, hey dude, your fucking podcast and your YouTube channel is awesome. So I was like, sweet. So for me, it's a chance to like, you know, connect with, as douchey as this sound, connect with the fans, James. Got to connect with the fans.
Sign signatures,
sign signatures.
Sign babies, kiss babies.
Yeah, you know, get my emotional jerk off done for the day. Get it nice and early, 8 a.m. So if you guys are listening, I go live on Clubhouse at 4 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday.
Yeah, I love the sound of that. I think that's awesome that people can connect with those big names that they have to pay $10,000, $20,000 to get the opportunity to do so and ask a quick question. Because, you know, with the risk of sounding like you just were, it really is like big for the fans. You know what I mean?
It's big for the fans, buddy. My OnlyFans is
expensive. I would know. You know, I got plenty of fans.
Me and Gurn. Look out for me and Gurn's OnlyFans page.
But yeah, no, like outside of that, yeah, just be careful who you take advice from, because man, like there's so many charlatans.
But in saying that, definitely take my advice.
Even on like the role plays that I do, when people ask me stuff that's outside of my scope, it's like I'm not willing to answer that question for you because I'm not going to do justification to the question. Like I don't have a good answer for that, so there's no point in me trying to bullshit and give you something. I'll just say, hey, look, you know, you're better off asking this question to this person because they'll give you a better answer. I don't have enough context. No. Anyway, let's move on from Clubhouse. Let's talk about Roadhouse.
Yeah. Roadhouse, great movie. Tearing throats out. It's the way to go. Apparently, you can just tear someone's throat out very easily if you're a 5'7", 100-pound man. Anyway, I think what we're going to talk about is, I think it's a trap or a pitfall. Talk about traps that I think salespeople fall into, which is going to morph into like, what is like, I think maybe help contextualize for sales reps some things that they don't understand about running a business to make like the longevity in sales, I think, easier, right? Because I think there are a couple of traps, and like obviously being both sides of the coin, like I've been a full-time salesperson and I've been the head business owner, right? So I think there's very different mentalities, and I think sometimes as sales closers, I think closers want too much sometimes, and they, you know, so if we're going to talk about commissions, we can talk about that, because I just released a video on YouTube on how to demand more commissions, which I think you can, but it's a very step-by-step process. You need to kind of realize what you bring to the table. But I don't think people should be paid 30%, 40%, even 20% really, depending on the program or the price, if it's a 5K offer or whatever. But, you know, I think you got to be careful with wanting commissions that are too high. And then getting comparison syndrome, like, oh, it's a 30K offer. Why am I not getting paid $4,000 a sale? It's like, okay, well, is it any different selling a 15 or a 30? No. It's like, okay, but you're getting compensated more for the 30 than you are for the 15 because they can do that. But it's not like you're getting compensated for difficulties. I think as soon as you start getting into like comparison games, I'm only getting 7%. I'm only getting 5%. It's like, yeah, man, but do you realize that if you went into the middle of any country and said, hey, I get paid $1,500 to talk to someone on the phone for 45 minutes, like they would lose their goddamn mind. So I think like we have to keep it in comparison. And when people start going like, oh, only 12%, this is bullshit. I'm like, is $1,000 not enough for you for an hour? What do you think you're worth? Because like, unless you close at 80% consistently, I don't want to fucking hear it, to be perfectly honest, because like, and this is, you know, and this, I said the same thing when I was a closer. I was like, why are you worth it? Like, what are you doing so differently than everybody else that you should take 20% of the gross revenue of the business?
Well, I think outside of that, and this will lead into how you understand that better as well, is the discrepancy, or the trap that salespeople I found fall into is not having an understanding as to why the business owner has made certain decisions. And because you can't understand why they've set that price, why they've set that commission structure, why they have set certain amounts of leads, you can't really have the transparency to understand that that may be better than what you think it is. And you just don't have the capability to understand where it comes from because you don't have business. Not to say you don't, but in that situation, people don't have the business understanding to know why people make certain decisions.
Exactly. Like delivery costs are expensive if you run a good program. Do you know what I mean? And the better program you run, the more delivery costs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if
the
someone
more
is
people
offering
you sell, the more the delivery costs are because of onboarding, right? And further to that, like, you can't just go out and expect more leads to make more sales just because you're on a hot streak. Because what are the limitations on onboarding someone in? You know, all of a sudden, if you sell too many people, you break the program, people get refunds. Then you have no long-term business to continue to get sales. You know, there's so many aspects that people don't see or understand.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like the trap is like when you start comparing like what the business owner should make versus what I should make, and comparison is the thief of joy. Like it really is. Like as a salesperson, I think we're in a unique ability to have a business. Let's say you just like, if you look at closing as running your own business with absolutely zero cost, with absolutely zero risk in terms of like what you had to invest. Yeah, you had to invest what? Let's say you invested $50,000 in coaching courses to become good. Do you know what it used to cost us to set up a gym? I used to set up gyms. It was around $250,000 to $300,000 in equipment cost, like, and then fit out to get that gym off the ground.
Then you got, depending on where you are, 30 to 100 grand lease.
Yeah,
it adds up.
Yeah, so like, you know, in terms of investment in what you have to do to get a business off the ground, it's absolutely microscopic. It's not even worth worrying about. Then you've got the fact that like, one, you can hop from offer to offer pretty easily if you're half decent. And like, you don't have to worry about the delivery at all. Like you're getting paid. You're getting paid. You're getting paid regardless of whether that person does 3 months or 10 months. A lot of the time, unless you got back in recurring comms, which isn't that usual, to be honest. Most people just get paid a one-off commission. They're one and done. And I'd rather take a lower one-off commission than take back in recurring because I don't want to have to deal with it. And that's where like, I don't care about comparison. I don't care. Oh, it's a $30,000 program and I'm getting paid $1,500. It's like, yeah, sweet. Fucking great. I'm happy with that. Like I am happy with that. If someone's paying me $1,500 a sale, I'm super happy with that. Now, if I can negotiate more because I bring a lot to the table in other realms, awesome. I'll try and do that, but I have to understand the business and really, I don't want to gouge the business and I don't want to take so much off the front end that I limit the ability of the business to liquidate the marketing effectively, right? And this is a big thing. Like if you're not really good, like if you can't consistently close over 50%, you need to be really careful with how much comms you ask for because you can destroy that business quickly.
Yeah, and you can stem your lead flow because they don't have the cash on the front end then to pay for marketing because you're not liquidating it quick enough to get the ROI on their ad spend. Yeah. Therefore, there's no leads for you if there's no budget going back into that marketing. And
the fallacy is that the more expensive the program, the more comms you should get paid.
Yeah, no.
It's just not true because like I've sold plenty of $5,000 programs and gotten $1,000 commission. I've also sold $15,000 programs and gotten $1,000 commission because like, it depends on how it's paid out. If it's a one and done course, dude, courses have crazy ROIs because there's no delivery cost. It's set and forget, it's done. So on a $5,000 course that might just have a group coaching model, it's crazy good, right? But if you're looking at like a coaching model with like one-on-ones or like in-depth stuff and model, like the delivery costs in that blow up because a lot of the time, the way that coaching organizations work, the coaches are on rev shares. So they take a percentage of the revenue that they coach, right? And then they get retention bonuses and stuff like that. So like, and then, you know, but the only guy paying the bill for everybody is the guy who, you know, owns the business, who's also paying for all the ads.
And taking all the risk.
Yeah, like there is, if you want to make the most amount of money in sales, in my opinion, selling the really expensive programs is not the way to do it. It's selling like a $7,000 offer that has high volume because on a $7,000 offer, you can, usually it's like a course or like something like that where it doesn't involve much people, even like 5,000. So it's a high profit venture and it's a high turnover of like leads and you're going to get your commission up front because it's almost always going to be a 1 or a 2 pay. Right? So you get everything really quickly. You can make a lot of sales quickly and you can do 3 sales a day at $700 a sale, making $2,100 a day. You're making $10,000 a week, no dramas. Now, if you were to translate that into a 30K offer, like a 12K coaching program, you're looking at, you know, potentially that 30K is being paid out over 12 months, unless you're a paid in full bandit, which you're probably not, let's be honest. right? Then they've got to deliver that person for 12 months. They've also, because it's a 30K offer, it's more expensive to make the sale. They've also got to go through an extended sales process because it's a longer. So really, like, you know, the myth is that, oh, I want to sell high ticket. Hey, bro, sell 5K offers and smash them. If you get $500 a sale on a 5K offer and you can sell 3 or 4 a day, you're killing it, bro. You have no risk. It's not a difficult sale. Like, you're crushing it. And it's really more of an ego thing if you want to start getting into 30, 40, 50, 60K. Now, I'm lucky to be in a position where I've been able to negotiate very, very healthy commissions when I'm doing the sales, but I'm bringing a lot more to the table. I'm bringing sales processes and all that kind of stuff. So some of the sales that I do are 5,000 a sale. Yeah, and my close rate's fucking astronomical. Like, it's over 90.
Yeah, so you deserve to get paid more.
So, like, fucking give me 2 leads, I'll sell 2 of them. Give me 10 leads, I'll sell 9. Yeah. Like, and I even, like, the first 2 weeks that we went with Jeremy, they gave me no leads. I made 35 sales at 15K a pop, right? No leads, 0 leads. They just gave me a Facebook group with 800 people in it. I was like, I can do this, crack the knuckles, boom, couple $100,000 in revenue. I'm out. Right? Like it. And so, like, unless you can do that, like, why do you deserve it? And you can do that. You just got to get there. This isn't to toot my own horn, but it's just like, I don't know. I see a lot of people in the closing industry, like, just I think they want more than they're worth. In terms absolutely. Of like, and been on both sides of the coin, having run a couple of businesses now and been a commission guy. Like, I never bitched about the commissions because I understood the delivery. All I wanted was, like, the delivery to be good. And if the delivery is good, the refund rate's low, so there's no clawbacks. And, like, you know, if you're going to sell a shit program, you're going to get really high comms. Like, if you're on an e-com offer with a 50%, it's a $15,000 coaching program and they're giving you 35% comms, it's a fucking scam. I'll tell you that right now. Either the guy's a genius and he's automated everything and he's super generous, or it's a scam.
I'd particularly in e-com, I'd lean towards the scam being more often than not.
I'll give you the red hot tip. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, and so, because if you look at, like,
anything that sells a way for you to get rich really quick and they do it for you, you're fucking in dreamland.
Because if you have a look at, like, a certain offer, which I will not name, but it's a something automation offer, right? Some sort of, I don't know, automation. Where you sell products on a very large website, and they're done for you is 160K. And the com for that
sounds like you might get a copyright infringement on this podcast, possibly.
So, but, like, the commissions on that are like $2.5 grand. It's $160,000 sale. And, like, it's like, oh, it's bad. It's like, yeah, but, like, I mean, if you're assuming that's being done properly, tremendous amount of cost. It's probably 50 grand in cost to get that up and running. You know, so you're not really selling, you know, 150. And I've said this before, but if you're selling a $30,000 year-long coaching program, and unless you're paying it in full, you're not selling a $30,000 coaching program. You're selling a month to month. You're selling a month to month, because I don't care what contract you sign. There's absolutely no contract that is worth anything in service.
Yeah.
Because the moment you say, I did not get the service that I required to get the outcome that you said I would get, and if anyone has ever said you didn't get an outcome, then you're tied to that. And if they don't achieve the outcome, in Australia, for example, they are entitled to a 100% refund.
I think all you're selling in those programs is the cash that you collected. In reality, that's all the money that you're taking. And from there, it's a gamble as to whether the rest gets paid off, because it's out of your control. Yeah. So you take more cash on the upfront and get more commission from that.
Exactly. You are selling the amount of cash that you collected.
You want to make high commissions? Take more cash. Then you can.
Yeah, and then negotiate a cash collection bonus, which I lay out how to do it in my video.
Or
so go to my
base
YouTube.
your commissions rather than a flat rate, based off a percentage of the cash that you collect, which will, one, incentivize you and drive you to take more cash. The business owner will be happier and more open to negotiating. And then your commission check is far more in your control than a flat rate for a dollar for a program.
So I think, like, if you're a sales rep out there, like, don't get in the comparison game. Don't start thinking, oh, it's 50 grand, I should get this much. There is no industry standard. People say, oh, industry standard is this. No, it's not. There is no industry standard because the commissions that you get are purely, going to be dependent on the delivery costs and how much the person can pay. Like you've got taxes. Like in Australia, every single dollar that we make in profit is 27.5 cents is sent to the government. So like, and then I've got, so if I make $100, 10% of that goes to sales tax, which is state tax, right? That's 90, right? Let's say I'm running at a 30% profit margin. So I got 30 cents, right? So 10 cents of that is going to the government, so I'm making 20 cents and you want to get how much? 20 cents commission, from my dollar. So, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think a lot of people are shooting themselves in the foot by saying they can demand these massive comps. And if you were really good, like you'd be dealing with volume. You know what I mean? If you're really good, like if you can close people really, really well and you're a master of your craft, you're doing 4 or 5 sales calls a day, you should be closing 2 to 3, right? And you should be making heaps of bank, even if it's $400, $500 a sale. The first high ticket closing thing that I did was a $7,500 marketing offer. I made $400 commission and I was stoked. I was pumped. I was so happy about that because I used to sell $400 packages and make $22 commission, of which I was still pumped. I was on a base, but I was stoked about that. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I have no risk here. I don't have to delivery. I'm fucking happy. I just think we need to realize the incredible position that we're in as closers. Where man, it's such a good gig. If you're good at it, it's easy cash. If you're good at it. Now getting good at it is not easy. But I think you need to be more realistic with don't get comparison. Don't start just, because it's just not the case because a $30,000 program might have the same profit as a $7,000 program. So they can't afford to pay that much. So anyway, that's sort of one of the traps that I think that salespeople are falling into. I think another trap is thinking that oh, this guy making this guy all this money, I might as well try and do it myself.
Yeah. Well,
it's good fucking luck.
And that's where
go try.
And that's where you become a coach with no business sense because if you have that comparative mindset, you don't have the business acumen to do it yourself. You just don't because you're making poor decisions. Yeah, because you probably don't have the skill set. Are you a brilliant coach or are you a sales guy? Do what you're good at. That's the reason you're in sales is so you don't have to deliver. But if you get trapped into that mindset, it's sure, go ahead and do it. And it'll be a really good teaching tool for you to realize how much goes on in the back end of an actual business that you never realized before. And then you can come back to it a better person and work better.
And I think that, from the other side of that as well, I'm not undermining the importance and the difficulty of being a really good closer, but it's just an entirely different skill set. I've only, I've been selling for a very long time, but I've also been running businesses for a long time now. My first business started it in 2011, 2010, something like that. So I've been running businesses for 10 years.
Yeah, I ran my first business 10 years ago as well.
Yeah. And so I've gone through a lot of iterations of that and I've learned a lot and I've made a lot of mistakes and I was selling the whole way through. And now it's just the fact that been lucky the stars have aligned and now I'm good at selling plus pretty good at running a business. I'm probably better at selling than at running a business, but learning that skill. But it's having seen both sides of it, it's there's not many people who are in a situation or lucky enough to really sort of be good at both, because if you're a really good salesperson, the way that you think is different. And if you're a really good business operator, the way that you think is slightly different again. So it's just if you figure out what you want to do and you figure out where you want to go, and if you want to start a business, by all means, go and start a business. But don't think just because you're good at sales, it's going to mean there's so much more that goes into running a business than just sales. Yeah. But sales is an integral part of having a successful business. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you can have awesome sales, and we know because we've done programs, we've sold programs for guys who are just garbage at business. Garbage. It doesn't mean they're not good at what they do or what they teach. And they might be good coaches, but they're garbage at business. And we sit back and we go, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you making these decisions? This doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And it's really frustrating. And it's I can't work with this guy because like the decisions that are being made on a business level are ridiculous and they're going to tank it and I don't want to be a part of it. But then you work with someone like Vince DelMonte, phenomenal business operator, phenomenal. Like the dude's really, really switched on and at another level above us, like considerably in terms of business acumen. He's been at it for a lot longer, but it's an absolute treat to see like how somebody like that maneuvers a business of that size with relative ease and how he's able to kind of massage all the individual places and put the people where people need to be put. So, you know, it's just a really interesting dynamic. And as salespeople, we're in a really privileged position to be able to make more money than the business owner. And, you know, in a lot of cases until everything really starts to take off. You know what I mean? But you should be really happy. Yeah. You should be really happy if the business owner goes out and buys a Ferrari. You should be like, fucking sweet. I am responsible for him, partly for him being able to do that. I bought the left wheel.
Unless he's very bad with financial decisions.
Yeah,
and that just bankrupted you and stopped your lead flow for the next 6 months and you need a new...
They buy a Ferrari and then there's no leads coming in. You know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things, like we all have our roles, and like if you're going to be a commission-only sales rep and you're good at it, you'll be very, very financially comfortable and you will be in the top 1%. However, the people who have taken the risk and the guys who are like, if we just take our business, for example, right, at the end of the day, if everything goes to shit and all the bills need to be paid, it's my savings that'll be pillaged. That's at the end of the day, that's where the buck stops, right? And me and you're fairly equal at this, but at the end of the day, like, hey, pay the bills. Okay.
Yeah. And
right?
If you're the sales guy that thinks that you can do what the business owner does and you want to be like, I'll just do that for myself, have to ask yourself, if you've got employees and you're doing that, are you willing to take that financial risk that if things fall over, it comes directly out of your saving in your bank account to make it right? If you're not happy to put that on the line, keep doing sales and stop dreaming.
Yeah. And so like, I think like, you know, you have to be aware, like it's such a phenomenal way to make such good money, but it's never going to be crazy money. It's never going to be boat money. You're never going to buy a fucking yacht, 100-foot yacht from being a commission-only sales rep, right? Now it can be a great stepping stone into other things.
Maybe if you sell yachts.
Yeah. You can put yourself in positions, you know, actually I stand corrected on that, because you can, if you sell fine art and you're on 20% commissions, you can make hundreds and tens, you can make tens of millions of dollars a year, right? So, but in sort of like the coaching and consulting industry, which is where a lot of what we're doing, like you can make $150,000 a month would be like a phenomenal, you know, about the top tier of what you can do in terms of time and money and stuff like that. And that's a fucking lot of money. Do you know what I mean? But it's not fuck you money. You know what I mean? And the only person who's going to make the fuck you money is the one that takes the largest amount of risk. And I think a lot of this stuff is coming up because of like the transition that's going on. And like, I'm having to go through that transition, and so are you, and so are some of our sales reps. And, you know, so I don't want this to come off as like anything, but I think it's like, I've been at all different stages in business. And I just think it's always important to remember, like, I need to make sure I get what I'm worth. I need to make sure I can maximize my income opportunities, but I also need to, like, just for myself, to make sure that I'm in the best headspace possible, is to make sure that like I understand the privileged position that I'm in as someone who can take a good percentage of gross revenue from a company with assuming no risk. And that's why I love sales. It's such a good place to be, is because all you're doing is risking your time. That's it. You're risking your time. You're not really having to put much into it. So I think like it's such an amazing role to be in, especially these days, which is like probably, you know, it's the infancy of that type of sale. And I don't know if it's going to last a long time. I don't know what's going to happen to it, but I think it's going to be around for a while. And I think it's a phenomenal place to be in. And I think like it's a great opportunity for people to make silly money. Because I think if you can make $100,000 a month from your fucking, you know, basement with an internet connection on the phone, convincing people to give somebody else money, boom. Like, what a fucking life. And that's what the dream of the inbound closer is. You know what I mean? Now, what you have to do to get there is, you know, I don't know many guys who have really cracked that. Like, if I'm to look around honestly and have a look at like every single fucking inbound closer in the coaching and consulting space,
I'd say the average wage was $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
Yeah, from what I've seen.
I collectively looked at it.
Yeah. And like I was making that a day.
I think like a really good thing for like salespeople to do is get some business understanding, so that you are in a position to understand how you can negotiate, because you understand what is able to be negotiated on, right? Read some books like Good to Great. I think that's Jim Collins. Principles, Ray Dalio. Lean Startup. Eric Riles maybe writes that book. Like, have a read of a couple of these things so you can get like a baseline understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. Because if you can understand like delivery costs, risks, and that from that salesperson, you're in a much better position to negotiate, because you know what is realistically able to be negotiated on, and you'll get the better price for yourself. Commission.
I've actually helped a few of my one-on-one coaching clients negotiate better comms, and I stopped them from making some enormous mistakes because they just wanted to go in there. Like, to be honest, I'll walk you guys through. If you want more comms, the first step is to get more comms on self-generated leads. That's your first step, right? It's the easiest one to get. All you got to do is find out what the average ad spend is to make a sale, and then half it and ask for that. If it's usually $500, go, I want an extra $250 every time I make a sale. It's a fucking no-brainer. Then you can get all the referrals. One of our clients just took off the ability for us. It's so stupid. They said we're not allowed to ask for referrals because we get so many referrals that they just want the in-house team doing it because they don't want to pay the commissions on us getting referrals. Okay. Which is one, fucking retarded. But two, it's adorable. They think it's that easy to get referrals. What do they think? We're just asking for them? They don't think that we don't put them through a sales process to get the referral, teach them how to ask for the referral, and then nurture that sequence to where it becomes a sales call and we sell it. So fucking stupid. Prime
example of having a good business, but sucking at business. Making bad decisions. But back to that, for self-generated leads, there's no associated marketing cost.
No, it's free money.
If it costs them $500 a ROI for a sale, that's $500 they just saved. So if you're willing to go out and make that work for them, it makes incredible sense for them to pay extra for that sale, because they've not only saved $500, they're only now paying $250 for that lead, your extra commission, as opposed to $500. It is an absolute
so it's a net savings for the company, which is huge,
and it incentivizes you to get more sales.
It makes you like indispensable, right? So it means that you're the guy going out there and hustling. So then you start to be like the dude, right? Plus you're making more sales. You're out there, you're doing it, you're making them more money. They're liquidate the marketing faster. Then you hit them with a cash collection bonus. Hey, brother, and then calculate. I usually collect $50,000 a month in cash. I would like a bonus every time I hit 70. Right? Make it a hard goal. Be like, yeah, 70 grand. If I hit 70 grand in cash, I want 4%. Make it a random number. I want 4.68% of the cash collected, everything over, as soon as I hit 70 grand. Right? They're like, okay. And then chances are you've just been lazy. You've just been doing payment plans because there's no incentive to you to get paid in fulls. Now that there's incentive to get paid in fulls, you start asking for them. You start going for it. You start getting after it. You're making them more money. You're collecting more cash. You're liquidating ad spend. You're getting referrals. You're getting paid more. Bingo, bango, bongo. You're making more money. You know why? Because you're fucking hustling and you're getting after it. You're not being a goddamn pussy sitting back like a baby bird making warm leads. I want more money. Shut the fuck up and do something about it.
Yeah. To get more money, you have to be worth it. Like, if you're a business and you had an employee come to you and say, look, I'm a really good coach. I want to get paid heaps more to do exactly what I'm doing now without bringing anything to the table. Yeah. You get told to fuck off. Like, it's stupid. So why, as a salesperson, do we think that we can do that with commissions? Yeah. It's no different.
So those are all things that I did to make my money. Like,
all things that you can do to make more money.
Yeah, like there's it's like getting better at sales, right? The slowest way to make more money in sales is to get better at sales. It's the least efficient way. In the long term, it's the best move. In the short term, it takes forever. It takes let's say you one-on-one coach with me. I will probably triple your money. I will probably triple your sales in 3 months, right? Still 3 months. You know, Dave Melman went from averaging in the hundreds to averaging in the 300s. Angelo Savage went from like 10K a month in comms to like 27K a month in comms. Like, you know, they're doubling and tripling their revenue pretty quickly. But like the first thing I do with everybody is not teach them how to do a new script. The first thing we do is, when was the last time you asked for a referral? Oh, never. Why not?
It's your lowest hanging fruit.
Go out and ask for referrals, dickhead. Like, what are you doing? Every single person. And then we do an assessment. How good is the delivery of the client that you're going for? It's about a 7 out of 10. Okay, cool. When do you think they'll be at their happiest? Day 21. All right, perfect. Day 21, everybody gets asked for a referral from now on. Okay, so if you get good at it, maybe 1 in 5 gives you a referral. You sign 50% of those. That means that 1 in every 10 sales that you make is an extra sale, right? So that means that if you're making 10 sales a month, congratulations, you're now making 11. Okay, sweet. There we go. Now it's like, okay, what about follow-ups? What are you doing to farm your follow-ups? Where's your list? Okay, sweet. Let's put some place into that. Okay, next is like, what do you do when somebody no-shows? Oh, I jerk off and watch Netflix. All right, well, that's not very productive. Why don't we cold call a list of people who no-showed over the last 6 months? If you have an auto dialer, you can do 4 dials a minute. So if you have an hour, what can you do? 240 dials an hour, right? When was the last time you did 240 dials to try and generate your own leads, right?
Never.
Exactly. So there's that. The next thing that you can do, right, is you can call everybody, either other douchebags who's not doing their own follow-ups, right? Call their no sales. Call the no sales of the worst rep that you know. I told a guy this the other day. I was like, who's the worst rep in your team? He's like, this guy. I was like, call all of his no sales because you're good. That guy's garbage, right?
There was a lot of buyers on that list.
There's going to be a lot of buyers in this, right? So like it's, you know, standard. Okay. So do that. Like these are all things that we can do. And if we create those into habits, like that's how you become a really successful, consistent sales rep, right? Because you're providing yourself with the most amount of opportunity. Then over time, that opportunity converts at higher and higher percentages.
Yeah. And secondarily to one, you've increased your amount of sales from opportunity there. But if you listen to our advice in negotiating commissions, you're also getting paid more commission on those sales because you generated them.
Exactly. So like, you know, yeah, man.
Double dip.
Sideways. This went sideways.
So, comparison. The Thief of Joy.
Thief of Joy.
That'll be the title for this episode, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, you know, go out there and get after. Like, you don't need more. Like, if you think you need a higher commission to make more money, you are thinking wrong.
Yeah.
You have wrong think going on because you just need to make more sales, brother.
And here's another massive mistake. You know, we'll try not to spend too long on it because we're getting quite into this podcast. Related to comparison, that salespeople, so salespeople, they inherently look up to someone that is another salesperson, whether that's, you know, Matt, whether that's Jeremy, whether that's Eli, whether it's Ryan Stewman, whether that's Grant, whether that's Dan. They look up to all of these people and they compare themselves to that person and the way that they sell and try and emulate the way that they sell. And the reason why it's so successful is because they figured that specific way out for themselves and can deliver on it because it's themselves. You can't be Dan Locke. You can't be Jeremy Miner. You can't be Eli Wild, but you can be yourself and take what they do and mold it into your way of selling so that it comes across genuine. And when you're comparing yourself to these guys and try and emulate and replicate it, it doesn't come across the right way because it's not you.
Yeah, what's one of the first things I tell everybody when they join APQ? I go, do not try and be Jeremy. You will fail miserably. That guy's got 22 years of NDPQ. If you try and emulate exactly what he does, you're gonna dive.
Yeah,
so you just got to take the principles and I don't do it. I don't sell anything like Jeremy, but I use his structure. But like my sales calls would be totally. I slap people around like they're a bass guitar. It's just my personality.
Slap bass.
Slap it a bass, baby.
Slap it a bass.
I'm gonna get a bass with Prospect.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Man, we're buying some dumb shit for this office, aren't we?
Slapping the Prospect. Boom, doom, 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 slapping the Prospect.
I just ordered a bowl in the shape of a human skull.
Oh, did you buy it?
We can, yeah, goddamn right I did.
Did you use the Amex? Because I've been getting pinged.
No, I put it on my personal card because it was linked to PayPal. It's a cool skull that we can fill with snacks or whatever when we're doing the podcast, and literally eat out of the skull of our enemies just to put fear into you people. If you try and come at us.
It's not enough for us to succeed, others must fail.
Yeah, there'll also be a trolley there, so that if you do try, you'll be pushing them at Woolworths. You know, there's a whole bunch of funny, dumb shit.
Shopping cart for those Americans. Yeah, whenever we have competition, we say by the end of the year they're going to be pushing shopping carts at Safeway.
Kind of an
I don't know
joke.
why. I don't know where it came from. It's just a joke. Just funny.
I think it's something Marco came up with.
Yeah, he said pushing trolleys at Coles, which is the Aussie version.
Coles is like Walmart, I guess. But
all right, guys. Well, just going to wrap it up. Hope that you guys enjoyed the podcast today. I think this one will be called like Angry Rants and Pitfalls.
We'll see.
Or something. I don't know. People like angry rants, so I think we might put that in the title. I got a bit fired up. You know, it's okay. You deal with it. If you fucking don't like it, don't listen. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep.
You wouldn't still be listening if you didn't.
Yeah, if you are still listening, shame on you. As what did Marco say today? I don't want to bring shame to your face. Fucking, the fuck's he talking about?
Fuck this guy. He's coming from the basement.
All right, Marco. Good news. I got my car back the other day. That's good. So now I'm driving back around in my Mercedes, which is always fun. You got to get your Mustang. You got to do that.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of organizing it now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, guys. So don't forget to like, subscribe, slap the bass, and join the closing code. Give me some money. My V8 is terrible on petrol, so I could really use the cash. So for nothing else, do that. But yeah, make sure you join the closing code group. Make sure you look at me on Clubhouse if you're on there, at Matt Ryder. Make sure you go onto Facebook at Matt Ryder. Make sure you go onto YouTube, Matt Ryder. Check it out. Subscribe. Just a bunch of you fucks still unsubscribed. I gotta say, it's pretty disappointing if I'm honest. So nothing's gonna happen. What's gonna happen if you don't? What's gonna happen if you do? Anyway, guys, have a good day. Enjoy. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.